when it comes to just the NFC, and that's another team at the bottom of the NFC and the Carolina Panthers, it's the 49ers conference now. This is what this year has shown me. When you got the head coach and you got the quarterback, and I'm not saying they're on this level yet, but you saw it with Brady and Belichick, and you saw it with Andy Reid and Mahomes. Now things may be coming home to roost there in Kansas City. I think they are a candidate to be one and done. I'm not betting on that. I would never bet on that in the playoffs when it comes to Andy Reid and Mahomes because I know better. But that could happen. I don't think any of us would be shocked with their level of play this year. Defending Super Bowl champions or not, they just haven't been playing well offensively. But you look at what Kyle Shanahan, Sam, and Brock Purdy, and where this franchise and this team is at in the grand scheme of things, they could be going on a run here for the next 5+ years when it comes to ownage in said conference. Now, that doesn't always mean that you're going to, win the Super Bowl, because I look at what the Green Bay Packers did, right? With LaFleur, with Rodgers. And Rodgers is always in the playoffs. Like, how many times were they the number one seed and he won an MVP? They just crapped the bed, right? That happened a lot of times.
And they got the one win early on, too.
Right? And exactly. And you thought, oh, man, they're going to go on forever. So it doesn't always work like that. But I think we're going to be talking about the Niners being in the mix for quite some time. And that's all you can ask for, being in the mix, being one of, if not the contender in your conference.
No, I absolutely agree. And I think this is what this season is really about, especially if they win the Super Bowl this year. And that's why I do think the fact that they have the one seed locked up, the fact they can take these next couple weeks and kind of get healthy for the playoffs, it does ratchet up the pressure because, I've said that this isn't a Super Bowl or bust season. And I still stand by that. I do still believe that it is a Super Bowl and try again next year. But to your point, I think you made last week's, Bedoni, it's never going to be this easy again, as far as we know for the 49ers. I mean, it might. I mean, the NFC could be even worse next year, but we don't know that. We don't even know if we're going to be alive next Sunday.
Thanks, Kyle.
So as of right now, though, you have to look at it as it's never going to be this easy. But if you do win the Super Bowl this year, then you have established yourself as the team in the NFC for the next few years. You look at what the Chiefs did when they won the Super Bowl a few years ago against the Niners. The way we look at the Chiefs, I mean, even the Chiefs right now, you just said they could be one and done, but would you be shocked if the Chiefs did somehow still?
As a starter, Patrick Mahomes has never at least gotten to the conference championship title.
Exactly.
Think about that.
When you know you have your quarterback and coach combo locked in, you are set for the you are going to be one of the big players in your conference for the next few years. And with Brock and Kyle, if they do win the Super Bowl this year, even just getting to the Super Bowl this year, though I do think winning it would obviously be a bigger statement there, no duh. But you have a chance to really plant your flag in the NFC and say, no matter what, you have to beat us. You have to be better than us if you want to go to the Super Bowl. Because that's how we look at the AFC. The AFC it's either going to be the Chiefs or whoever can figure out a way to get past the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs, they had a bad year this year with all the drops. It's been historically bad in that sense. You can't expect that to carry over to next year. You got to figure next year you're going to have some positive regression there. You're going to see some less drops.
Well, they'll go after a wide receiver.
And that's before you get to the fact that they're going to pick a wide receiver in the draft. They'll probably make a trade for a wide receiver, bring in a veteran guy to help out. Because to your point earlier, Travis Kelce, he's not going to be elite forever. He's 33 years old right now? Yeah,
he's older than that. I think he's 35, isn't
33, 34. He's old in NFL standards. You probably got maybe a year or two left, if anything, of elite Travis
34.
Kelce, if you're lucky. Okay, 34. So, I mean, it's the sun is setting on Travis Kelce being an elite option for Patrick Mahomes to go to. But they're going to load up, and when the season starts next year, everyone's going to be saying that, the Chiefs are a team you got to look out for. And that's what the Niners have a chance to get here this year, is to be in a position where every year teams are saying no matter how good we are still measuring ourselves up against the class of the conference, and that is what the San Francisco 49ers are becoming right now. And again, you win it this year, you are officially that class of the conference for many, many years to come. And it's only going to get better for the Niners because, as you said, they are very good at locking guys up. Brandon Ayuk, next man on deck. You're going to get your big deal this offseason, too. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Chase Young. Maybe they bring him back, maybe they don't. But the Niners have a perpetual machine of just dominance that's being built right now. And you're seeing, in this next playoff run, they have a chance to really just lock themselves in, be that team for the next few years. And it starts right there under center with Brock Purdy. It starts right there on the sideline with Kyle Shanahan and how in sync they are right now. That's why you're feeling really good about them with the rest of the NFC, because no other team really has that quarterback coach combo that you're feeling as good about as the Niners have with Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan.
And the only one you would say right now would be the Los Angeles Rams with McVay and Stafford.
But even
Stafford's
how much,
getting older. Stafford's
how
getting
much
old. That's
Stafford have left?
I mean, probably not as much, but he's playing like an all-pro right now this season. So that's, again, the one team that I'm keeping an eye on in the NFC, if I'm the Niners, is that Los Angeles Rams team, which you'll be facing this week. How much is on the line for them? We'll see how it goes on and goes forth. But for the Niners, they've got things locked up. 888-957-9570, the number to call. Or text the Comcast Business text line. Also, hit us up on Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Shanahan, you get a chance to watch the Eagles lose to the Arizona Cardinals?
Yes, that's why we're late in here. It was awesome. Didn't want to really try to not pay attention to it. Didn't want to get our hearts broke, but we did right there at the end, and they pulled it out. It was pretty cool to see.
And let me see. I think
he didn't want to get his heart broken watching the end of that Eagles game? Like, would it really been that devastating?
Well, he would have had to play another week.
I guess
like that. Yeah. So that actually, honestly, like Shanahan's probably relieved he didn't have to. He's probably watching. Yeah, I think they asked him after the game or yesterday.
Heartbroken's a weird way to put that.
They asked him yesterday about the no call in the line or the penalty call in the Lions game where he didn't report as eligible and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, stuff's tricky. We don't really do a lot of like a lineman reporting as eligible, but usually talk about the ref. I was like, well, Shanahan really wanted to say I'm glad they called it because I needed the Lions to lose that game, so I didn't have a lot to play for in the last week because if the Lions had won, they've obviously still playing for the number 1 seed. Niners, they're chilling though because they have the tiebreaker now over the Lions, Cowboys, Eagles, all those teams that are 11-5. Brock Purdy, how was it for you to watch the end of that Eagles game?
Yeah, it was sweet to be able to have that kind of moment. You know, I'd grown up sort of watching like TV clips and stuff of like teams together watching and celebrating another team win for their case. And so for us to be able to do that, I was sort of just like taking it in. I was like, man, this is something that I've seen on TV growing up. And now we get to all cram into a corner of the locker room and watch on a little TV. So it was special.
You're going to notice the theme here. Brandon Ayuk, how was it for you to watch it?
That was fun. That was lit. I didn't realize what they were doing at first. I saw everybody out there right in the hallway after the game watching it, and then we all were in Kyle's office watching it just right now. But that was pretty cool. It's the moments like that where we go handle our business out there, and then we get an opportunity to just watch the rest of the league and let it play out in our favor with another team getting a win. So that was pretty cool. A moment that I'll for sure remember forever.
I like if you can hear that slightly. I have headphones on, so maybe you couldn't hear it in your cars or wherever you're listening. Someone's phone was going off in the background. Maybe it was Ayuk's. You can hear the vibration. 888-957-9570. Philadelphia Eagles in shambles right now. And the 49ers, they're sitting high on top of the conference. Ain't it sweet, Niner fans? 888-957-9570. How confident are you about this team? Because, I mean, if I'm a fan right now, I'm riding high. I really am. I just look at the landscape. I know things can change fast. Life comes at you quickly, but you got that rest. So I'm trying to find a weakness right now when it comes to this team, Sam. And I'm having a hard time doing it.
Well, there's two things I would say if they're going to rain on the party right now, outside of just something crazy
Rain
happening.
is in the forecast this week.
There you go. Love that rain. Every time it rains, I'm always just like, oh, well, that's the last rain we're ever going to have. It's just those years of drought and just absolutely scarred me for life. That's our weather segment of today. But if there's outside of something just drastically happening, some wild, unforeseen upset, knock on wood that doesn't happen. There's two things I think really kind of concern me. One, we touched on already, it's the health. Like I said, you got through the season reasonably healthy. And the injuries you do have to Eric Armstead, Ambry Thomas, Christian McCaffrey, they're not long-term. It doesn't seem like Kyle Shanahan's all that concerned about any of them. All those guys should be back, ready to go full strength. Ambry's going to be playing with the club when that divisional round starts up. So for the most part, you got everybody healthy, and you want that to stay. You want that to be the case, obviously, going forward here the next few weeks, because you look around the rest of the league, the reason teams are struggling is you got guys dropping like flies. I mean, look at Miami. Their defense is in shambles. They're missing
Chubb,
yeah. Jalen Phillips, Xavier Howard.
That's tough. That was a horrible loss and adding insult to injury there.
Losing Chubb in garbage time, too. You know, I was listening to WQAM 560, our friends, our Odyssey station out there in Miami on the way in, and they're complaining about, the fact that Chubb was left in during garbage time. Like, when he shouldn't be there. And that's the worst when you lose guys on plays where they shouldn't even been on the field. So health, obviously a big risk there for the Niners, and you can't really predict that, obviously, but that's one weakness there. McCaffrey's calf, absolutely something to keep an eye on, though. Again, I know I said there's not a lot of concern there, but, the Bay Area, calf injuries that you don't want to be concerned about. We've heard that story before with one Kevin Durant. We all know how that went. I don't mean to strike that fear into you Niners fans.
Put that evil on
I'm
me,
not
Sam
saying that a calf injury is going to turn into an Achilles injury, but right now, again, the news out of McCaffrey sounds about as good as you can expect. So that's a positive. Hold on to that. The health factor, still good for the Niners. Hopefully that holds up. The other thing I wanted to highlight here, and this is something I really liked about what the Niners did on Sunday, or it's more about what they didn't do. They didn't rack up a bunch of penalties. So they have been one of the more penalized teams. They have been the most penalized team. Going into last week, I think they had the 8th most penalties and the 10th most penalty yards in the NFL, which is still a lot for a team that's at the top of the conference. On Sunday, though, I think they had, 2 or 3 penalties for 30 yards.
Yeah, not a lot.
There were not really any dumb penalties. There was, I think, one bad pass interference there or something like that. Ronnie Bell had a hold there. There's a Fred Warner, I think, jumped off sides at one point. But for the most part, there were no killer penalties. Very clean game.
And that's from the top down. That's Shanahan, having a bad loss like that. Can't beat yourselves, right? That was probably what the message was heading out of that Christmas Day loss to the Baltimore Ravens. Just can't beat ourselves. If we don't beat ourselves, we're winning. It's as simple as that for the 49ers. You cannot beat yourselves, and that's where you want to be. You can't say that for all teams. Sometimes there's luck involved. For the longest time, I felt like, shout out Billy Joel for the longest time, if you played your best and you played the one team, if you're the Niners, for the longest time, it was Kansas City. That's the one team I always looked at. If they played their best, man, I just don't think the Niners are beating them. Now it's, if the Niners play their best and play mistake-free football, no one's touching them. Yeah. Chiefs, maybe the Ravens. God, that's the one team right now.
Ravens,
maybe the Ravens.
It's tough because the only film we have of them is of them running roughshod over them.
They just kicked 2 Shanahan offenses back-to-back.
That's a good point, yeah.
The AFC and the NFC. Mike McDaniel runs the same offense, and they are not fooled by any of that motion stuff. Roquan Smith was baiting Tua. I don't know what they were doing, by the way. Heading into that, they had the 2-minute warning. They were trying to beat the clock there, the end of the first half. And then Tua I don't know what was going on there, just forcing it. But that's what Tua does. He forces him, and he makes mistakes. Thank you, Mike McDaniel, there. You were talking about health for the 49ers. Here's Shanahan yesterday on his weekly media conference call talking about good news on CMC's calf.
We're real confident on that, and it was good news. Could have been a lot worse. So we're happy it'll take care of him this week, and hopefully he'll start getting to go during our off week.
And that's great news. Hopefully that's just a grade 1 strain, because there's 3 level grades, and a strain obviously is a slight tear, as we know. Shout out Dr. Nirav Pandya, UCSF Health, our 95.7 The Game injury insider here when it comes to all things sports injuries. So good news there, Sam, in regards to CMC's calf strain. And it's going to be a major factor here. But also getting Elijah Mitchell going here would also be a huge 1-2 punch, because this is why he saved him, right? And I shouldn't say saved, because you know what? A lot was made about Christian McCaffrey's workload.
Oh, we've haggled out on so much on this show.
And you know what?
Triggered
I'll
many a
say
fight.
this. If they did not get that 1 seed, this would be a major talking point, because getting hurt potentially and missing this game against the Rams now doesn't mean anything. But if it did, that's a major concern.
You would have probably had Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason as your 1-2 punch in the backfield there. And, thank God we don't have to answer the question of what that would have looked like. Obviously Mitchell and Mason, they're going to get plenty of run this Saturday against the Rams. So, we will get a sense of what it would look like, but just without the urgency there. I'll say it as this. I'll look at it from the positive standpoint. The fact that McCaffrey should be back and ready to go in time for the divisional round, you have a chance to really kind of bolster your running back depth here. Let's get some more run for Mitchell, some more run for Mason. Maybe we see TDP this weekend. Let's get some serious depth here going here with the Niners here at running back. And I'm not saying you work all 4 of those running backs in during a playoff run, but I would like to see, again, we've seen so much from McCaffrey this year. We've seen such a massive workload for him this year for a guy with an injury history and a head coach who's got a history of kind of getting guys injured. So the fact that he is as the injury is not as severe as it is, certainly a massive positive here. But the other positive is good. Yeah, you get a chance to really kind of build up your running back depth. And let's see if we can get either Mitchell or Mason to be a guy who, 5-6 touches a game in the playoffs to spell McCaffrey just a little bit. Because any bit of freshness you can keep on McCaffrey's legs, the deeper you go into the playoffs, is going to be absolutely huge for this offense.
Where are your concerns, Niner fans, if any? Because right now the Niners are the number 1 seed in the NFC, and I have 0.00 concerns with this squad. Outside of health, which I think is going to take care of itself because you have this 1 seed. See, that's the thing. If they didn't get it, then health, then the depth, all that would be tested. But now that plantar fascia with Eric Armstead gets to heal more. That solves my defensive run game, right? That solves that for me because we've seen without him, teams have been able to run on him. So that solves that problem. Christian McCaffrey in the offense. If we're all, in agreement that he is the Swiss Army knife, he is the cog to this engine that it unlocks everything. If he gets some rest here now, those will take care of themselves. So the health aspect, I'm good with because you have all of this time now.